Okay, so now HD600. So I talked talked about 600s previously in the 580 video. I don't think I have to do the whole ordeal of taking these apart. But yeah, the paper thing, the dampening material thing. Mine are the white ones, so these are a little newer, but these are not newer. These are still the older runs. And what do I mean by this? Well, if you are not, like if you don't know, that's fine. HD600 got a refresh, and they're not making this granite design anymore. They're not. So besides the design, okay, these are also not being made in Ireland anymore. Now, again, I keep on saying this, and it's just because I'm an advocate for like when the headphone is made, like in the place that it's always been made. So I like that. I like that a lot. So these were last made in Ireland, okay? And these were never used properly by its owner. Now, I'm not saying that the owner doesn't know what he's doing, okay? I don't know if he actually had a dedicated amp or anything like that, but he used these for gaming, and that was really it. So if you remember my 580s, the padding that's on this is basically what it looks like for someone who advocaatly uses their 600s like all the time. The pads are gonna be like this worn out, and then also for this, this is soft actually, and that's considerably worn in, quote unquote. Okay. Now this is basically new pad, new head strap as well. Like that's just, oh my god, stiff as heck, and the clamp is just not like these never really saw much action. When I bought these secondhand, I was really happy when I got a hold on these. Again, to the seller, thank you so much. I love these. These are my reference now. So if it isn't going to be 6XX, it's going to be 600s. And why? Well, because these are neutral. These sound neutral. And for some people, they may not. And again, like if you look at the graph and all that kind of stuff, these are not maybe the most perfect headphone, okay? And people make the step up and just use the 650s as their reference point. But 600s, I don't know what it is, but there's a brightness to them that kind of is like the similarity between the Electro Voice RE20 and then the Electro Voice RE27ND. Like that switch is basically what it feels like for HD600 to HD650, no, sorry, from HD580 to HD600. HD600 is a little bit brighter, okay? It loses a little bit of that low end, and again, it's an open back dynamic, okay? And there's already an aggressive roll-offs on this, but how do I feel about 600s compared to 580s? That graininess, gone. These are clear, clear. I really love the detail that can be extracted from this. And again, the mid-range has been almost like a theme for AKGs, and I would say for the 600 series, it's the same thing. The theme with these headphones is how delicious that mid-range is. It's very it doesn't sound synthetic. It's a very natural mid-range, and it's also it's just perfect. It's just perfect. I don't know what else to say about that word, that it's perfect. I I love the new clamp feel. People complain about that. Maybe it's because, bigger heads, tighter clamp. It's not a nice combination, but I would think I have a reasonably sized head. I don't think people really talk about that much. But I feel as though the clamp force on 600s, if they were new, and any of the 600 series headphones, they're perfect, and they play really well with each other. Like everything is kind of like hand in hand. The clamp force, the pads, like the stiffness or the softness. It's wonderful. It really truly is. Now, from what I can feel, right, these feel more premium. Like from 580 Precision, once you get a hold of 600s, you can feel that these are a more premium headphone. The granite design that is almost luxurious and like old at the same time. Like the design really doesn't age well for some people, but I love it. It's eye candy to me. Um, and it's just the imaging. That mid-range is the mid-range. The middle part from like left and right separation and coming into the middle is not a cloud anymore. It's kind of been lifted. It's actually it's a little more clear than 580s, noticeably clear, and the separation on these is even better. Being able to hear like in Rock With You, the different distances on the right side. Again, my camera's flipped, sorry, but on the right side where the cowbell is, in "Don't Stop Till You Get Enough," and that song from Michael Jackson, you can hear it, the distance, and how that changed. And you can also hear the guitars on the left and the right, and the like when they're hard panned, and you can monitor with these. And I would say that these, out of the headphones, I would trust 600 to be the truth. If these were the only headphones I owned, you know what I mean? Like, I would trust these. Separation's wonderful, and again, the sense of imagery is amazing. But the one thing I don't like about these has always been soundstage. These aren't the most wide headphone, and do I like wide headphones? I think I do. Maybe I expected these to be wider. Maybe that's why, but I feel as though that's something that shouldn't be a bad thing about 600, because these are intimate, but they're intimate in a very analytical and surgical sense. Like, they're not going to be heavily detailed. It's not like Stax detail, okay, a level of fidelity. But it's to the point where you're like, yeah, these are big boy headphones. You know, this is mid-fi, I'm getting there headphones. This is like, for most people, end game headphones. For some engineers, these are their Bible. So I can't really like taking all of that out of account, like culturally or society based or whatever. Like personally, I feel as though I can trust these. Personally, I've mixed with these, and they're amazing. And I think that intimacy, since it's almost as tight as DT48, which are closed back dynamics. Okay, like, that's how closed off these feel in terms of their sound staging. But I feel like it just works because that level of clarity and detail in the mid range not being too shouty, it just it works really well. And I think it's an experience being the microphone, you know, instead of being in the crowd listening to the sound as if it's in a stage or in a tight room. This is more of like the band is inside your head. And it's a very interesting experience. And I think that only 600 series headphones are capable of really giving you that. Well, they were the first to really do that, I would think. So open back dynamics, 300 ohms, and the warmth from tubes, effective. These are very amp dependent. People say that they're amp dependent or amp transparent. So when I throw them on the Magni 3 and then I throw them onto the Motu 4 and then throw them onto the Valhalla 2, they all are different. And the same thing even with classic vintage receivers. Throw them on speaker receivers. They will warm up if they are vintage solid state or vintage tubed receivers. But I believe that these will be a little bit more, more to the truth on solid state, or for those very, very like expensive DAC amp combos. So that's 600s for me. I honestly, as soon as I got 600s, I was like, I don't think I need any other headphone from Sennheiser. Like, 650's cool and all, but I mean, 600s were the headphone I've always wanted. I've always wanted these. And they're so hard to get your hands on in the used market, particularly because everybody wants these, and these sell really quickly, and people fast sell these. So, You can get kind of lucky on Reddits. There's a Reddit for audio and visual, like it's like AV Exchange, that was opened by Zeos. So I've seen a few of them listed there, but they're gone like that. So just be expecting that. But locally, um, good luck. I mean, I got my luck. I was lucky to find HD600 locally for a good price. Basically half the price of what it's being listed for the new one. But especially this granite one, I feel the older design is nicer. The newer one's just a solid gray. And I think the driver has changed. And again, they're not made in Ireland anymore. So I feel as though the Ireland made HD600 with the white paper, that's the one I have, these sound amazing. They sound really, really great. So detail in low end bass. Ooh, should I talk about that? Genre dependent? I want to say genre dependent. Like, I think that's something I've always wanted to really kind of talk about the most is genre, because the thing is, some headphones are made for specific genres, and I feel as though 600 kind of fits the bill on that. Like, I feel as though instrumentals, because of like just the natural sounds of this, that it's able to replicate, it reproduces natural sounds naturally. But then when you have something synthesized, it just doesn't sound right. So I feel as though I listen to 600 when listening to Michael Jackson, to Whitney Houston, to acoustic, to something that's not EDM. But if you were to do that bass mod or maybe change the pads, it may bump up that low end, which I think is what is the downfall for this, is that the low end is probably at that point in terms of its roll off where it's just not enjoyable for low end because of how tight it is. It's a tight low end. And the more and more that I've been paying attention, like mixing and mastering on my own time, and just doing homework. Like my homework is just listening to music, and I feel as though I don't reach for 600 as I would for 6XX or for 580 when it comes to listening to bass heavy songs. It's kind of like the impact's there. 600's impactful bass, but sub bass is just not there. There is no sub bass. Are the drivers capable of doing it? They are, okay? The drivers are capable of sub bass, but in terms of its configuration, like the cup and then also the design and the housing, it isn't gonna give you that. It's not gonna give you that. So I never reach for these for EDM or electronica. The details and stuff are super fun, and the textures are really amazing because again, that mid range is beautiful, and then the high end is Sennheiser Veil they call it. But I just feel as though that these shine more in classical, in acoustic, in Foley work even maybe. Like the binaural sounds are nice on this. So, HD600s. Thanks for watching the video. I gotta move on. 6XX and then 58X. Ooh. But yeah, HD600s. Like, these look like they're not used, but trust me, I use them. I just want to take really good care of these because I don't know when or if these end up breaking on me, if I'll ever get another pair of the Granites, older HD600s. And I just really love the design. I love the sound. And they're priced, I would think, reasonable. They're reasonably priced. So if you end up buying a new one, I think that you shouldn't be scared if you end up buying a new one that is going to be the 2019 refresh, I think it was when the refresh happened. Might be 2018. I'm not really that connected with the new headphone game, always looking at the older stuff. But yeah, either way, I think that if you end up buying a 600, I think you'll have fun with them. If this is the sound you want, you are getting exactly that. Something that is, to me, perceivably neutral, something that is super duper transparent, and it can really help really shine or show the detail and also the beauty of your amps and your DACs. So the DAC amp combo on the HD600 may be very important, but I don't think it is. I don't think it is. These are a great analytical buddy to have in the studio. So HD600. So I almost dropped them. Take care. Be safe. I'll see you guys for 6XX.